What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Ride the Six. We're going to start clearing some of this junk off the tank. It's just like a sticky sticker residue. Best thing you can do, guys, get a wire wheel, or sorry, a rubber wheel, not a wire wheel. You'll damage everything. Get a rubber wheel, get a drill, and we're just going to go like this. You're going to keep moving it back and forth. You don't want to keep it too long in the same spot. You'll burn through the clear coat pretty easy, and you don't want to go wide open. All right, let's see if we can get this done. I've done a little spot over here as a test, so I do know this works. We're going to start down here. There you go. As you can see, guys, it does work. Don't be afraid to get a little rubber wheel and use it to get some stickies and stuff off your motorcycle paint. Give you a better close-up look here. You might need to do a little buff or something after. But overall, I mean, it's not too bad. Definitely better than it was before. Okay, stay tuned, guys. We're going to get back to work. We're going to take the fairings off and get the new fairings ready to go. Big news, guys. We have our new fairing in, but before I start putting that together, I got to take this one off again. Just two bolts here down low. Should just pop out and undo my cable from the top here. Alright, there we go. Fairings off. Again, I'm going to probably take this upstairs and work on it, transplant everything, and I'll probably show you that here shortly. Check it out. The old fairing with like lots of scuffs, especially up here. And our new right side blue fairing. This color is incredible. I can't wait to get it on the bike and have the bike all completed. I love this blue. Okay, let me do a quick part swap from these guys, and I'll be right back. Check it out, guys. There it is. I've got the two, I guess, right side fairing pieces put together. This is the color scheme from the 2018 fairings that I have, and it does match up to my 2016. Everything bolts up the same. But check it out. This is what approximately $800 Canadian looks like in plastics. Alright, let's go back to the bike. It's time to address this headlight on the GSX 1000. I got all the mounting hardware today from the shop, and there's a little bit of, it's probably hard to see, but see all this dust? This is kind of inside the headlight, so I'm going to take this off the bike before I mount it in final, and I got to put a bulb in this one anyway, so I do have a bulb. So I'm going to open it up. I'm going to try to see if I can't clean this dirt out somehow. I'm not sure if I want to put water and stuff in there, but we'll see. Anyways, let's get that headlight off, and we'll go from there. Okay, we're going to start with the left side. This is the improper screw, so this is going to get replaced anyway. I've just been kind of waiting for these little hardware bits to come in, but now that they're here, we can proceed and move forward. Okay, there's the left side. And here's the bolt for the right side. This is the proper bolt, but I had to order up 5 more. There's a total of 6 of these that hold the headlight in place. So we'll just pull this guy out. Okay, there we go. And I don't have anything connected, I don't believe. We'll get this harness out of the way. The harness is going to stay because it's attached to the cluster right now. And there we go, headlights out. So now I'm just going to open up the back, get a new bulb in there, and while I have it open, I'm going to see if I can't clean some of the dirt out of the headlight housing. Okay, we're going to do this in my backyard here. So it kind of works like a clock in a way. So it's clockwise is tightening it, counterclockwise is loosening it. There we go. Turn it counterclockwise. Pull this stuff out, and we're going to do the same on this one actually. Oh, they are stiff. Sometimes you have to use both hands here, guys. A little hard. There we go. Yeah, it's pretty tough on your fingers, guys. And okay, so we have a white wire on this side, so we're going to unplug the bulb. Okay, and this bulb has like a retention spring by the looks of it. And the bulb should just come out. Okay, we're going to put that aside. Do not touch the bulbs with your fingers, guys. The oil from your hands can cause them to burn out a little earlier in their life cycle. Okay, I think the first thing I want to try to do is I want to try to blow this out with my air compressor. And if that doesn't work, maybe we'll try some alcohol or something. So I decided to use my air compressor to kind of blow out as much dirt as I could. I was actually able to get a rag up in here and wipe a little bit out as well. I didn't want to put any liquid inside the headlight because there's not really drain holes, and I didn't really want to have any moisture in there. So we're going to put our additional bulb. This is our original bulb. We're going to put it back over here where it came from. We're going to swing that up and over and lock it into place. We have a new bulb. It's an H7. I just picked this up at Canadian Tire. I don't remember how much it was. It wasn't too expensive. I'm going to put this on the other side. Okay, again, I'm not touching the bulb. Let's get this out of the way. Let's unlock this piece. Okay. These bulbs do have a little notch on them, and there's a very, very nice cutout for these bulbs. They just sit in there. Don't make a liar out of me. Sits right in there, and then we use this to snap it into place. There we go. And then now we'll put the covers back on. Well, I guess we could plug them in first. I don't know if there's a plus and minus on these headlights. They look the same to me, but I can't be 100% sure. Okay, that one's on. And yeah, it doesn't seem to matter, guys. It looks exactly the same. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to plug them in, I suspect. So okay, after you get that in, You got to line the little notches up in the covers with your housing. And then you're going to do probably like a half turn just to lock it in. And then same over on this side. Actually, they stop after a while anyways. You can only turn them so far. That's when they're locked into place. Okay. So there we go. We have our headlight, and we have an original bulb and a new bulb. So let's go get that on the bike. So here we are back at the bike. I have not mounted the headlight yet because I actually wanted to get this fender mounted first. And guess what, guys? This is one of those bikes that the fender is shaped around the forks, and it's got two metal brackets on the back that hold your brake lines. This is not a fender you just slide in over your tire. On this bike, you got to remove the whole front wheel, including your brakes, and pretty much anything else attached, and your front axle, obviously. So I took this apart last night. The procedure is no different than any other bike. Take both brake calipers off first, hang them out of the way. Take your axle, take the nut off this side, and pound the axle through to the other side and then pull it out. So I went ahead and did that last night. I cleaned up everything in here around the brakes. It's not too bad. It's looking pretty clean. And then when the wheel was off, I was able to get the fender mounted up. I have the bolts a little bit rusty, but I'm probably going to replace those. So that bolt there, and then you have one for your reflector as well. There's 3 bolts on either side of the fender that hold this thing in place. So our fender's in place. I just have it loose. I have the wheel back in. I've already torqued in the axle nut to 72 foot-pounds. And on this bike, you need a 27 millimeter for this axle nut. Fits on there perfect. And on the other side, you might want to get yourself something like this. Let me see if I can get the camera. I believe I got this on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. You can see there's different sizes here. And this essentially is going to fit into the other side of the axle right there. So on this side it's a 19. Yep. So that just goes on the end of another ratchet. So yeah, you got to 2-arm this thing, and you got to crank that bolt into 72.5 foot-pounds, or I think it was 100 newton meters. Double check my math, but it's definitely 72.5 foot-pounds. All right, I'm just going to take down the pinch bolts here, tighten the axle up, and then we're going to come up to the headlight. We're going to get that in place. Okay, there we go. Our headlight's back in. It's only held in with the 2 screws that I've already shown you previously. And before I kind of clip everything in, I don't like to get too far ahead of myself, guys. We're going to try to, I guess, put the dash cluster on, make sure we don't have to screw something in from underneath the front stay bracket. All these little things go together strangely, so that's the next thing I'm going to check. And if we're good there, I'm going to do that, and then we're going to try to finalize the wiring here. We're just going to plug it all in and see where it lays, I guess, right? So yeah, I've just got it propped up with a 2x4 right now just to keep it off the fender. And once the other fairings go in around it, it kind of helps button it up and secure it into place. Right, so we're going to play with the dash cluster here. So what we're looking at, first of all, we have a backing piece, and then you have a backing piece, a front piece, and the cluster. This is actually 4 different pieces, and they're not all necessarily from the same year or the same make of motorcycle. I kind of put this cluster together out of what I could find around for used parts, and so far so good, but I'm worried somewhere along the line maybe one of the holes is in a different location, or maybe it doesn't quite fit. But anyways, we have 3 screws here, these screws are to mount the back plate essentially to the back plate of the cluster. It's very hard to decipher this stuff from the drawings. Trust me, I've spent a lot of time. These two pieces aren't even on the same drawing when you look at the parts list and the microfiche or whatever you call it on parts websites. So you have to look at two different sections, and the parts don't overlap on each section. So we're going to see what happens here. I'm pretty confident that these 3 screws and washers are to hold the cluster into the backing plate. But that's only after extensive research that I was able to decipher that and determine that. Okay, we're going to tighten these down. 2. And 3. I'm not going to over tighten, guys, because it's just plastic. You don't want to strip things. And now what we have is essentially a fully assembled cluster that basically is going to sit on top of the front stay bracket. So there's our connector. Going to get it plugged in. Okay, there we go. It clicked in. And we're going to put our rubber around the back of the cluster to seal it. Okay. Essentially our cluster is in place. Now I can probably kind of finalize some of this wiring on the headlight. This is our... Okay, let me see here. I'm trying to get things in the right order because I don't know exactly how they lay. This is our harness for the front headlights. So we're going to plug that in right there. We can move our cluster back in place here now. We do have these little clips. Going to clip those back into the housing. And this one here, I'm almost thinking this one ran underneath and they kept it out of the way. But again, I'm not sure. I don't have a full manual for this bike. I cannot confirm nor deny. To me, it's just kind of what makes the most sense. Keep the cables in the back out of the way. And then we clip in the other side of the light here. So I do have some clips in behind here to put this cable through. It's almost like a little raceway for the cables, if you know what I mean. And essentially this is our front section kind of completed right now. There's something I noticed on the bike as well. I'm not sure if I want to put all the fairings on it just yet because I want to do an oil change and stuff as well. But I can put the fairings on just to piece it up. Maybe it's not so bad. Maybe get the filter with the fairings in the way. So this is our little nose piece. I'm going to try to fit this on the bike and just see how things go together here. I do see that all these pieces kind of slide in. It's kind of interesting. All these rubber grommets on the top of the headlight. This piece slides into those grommets. I would say it's not very easy getting it in place. Oh, there we go, actually. Question is, will I get it back off again? So there we go, guys. The first time the bike's actually had everything kind of installed and had the nose on it. Everything's going to come up around it and lock around it as well. The lighting may not quite do justice in here, guys, but let me know what you think of the blue. It's a metallic sparkle blue, or I don't even know what they call it, but it is quite nice. Never had a blue bike, but I may be riding it this year, so we'll get a piece together. Just trying to see how everything fits here. Let me bring the camera over. And these are the things we're not sure of. See, what I'm talking about is the way the dash lines up here. So see, there's a hole there. There's a hole there. In theory, those two holes are going to line up. And these two holes here should line up. And I see there's a little clip here. And then when I feel underneath, I do feel another clip under the bracket there. So it kind of feels like things are going to line up. Maybe. Right now they don't look to be lined up, but it could be that I haven't got this thing screwed in all the way, or I haven't got it pushed back far enough. But yeah, that's the blue, guys. That's what it's going to look like. Alright, let me tinker with this a little bit, and I'll come right back. So I've tinkered with it a little bit off camera. There are a lot of things that have to line up. Basically, all those little grommets in the top of the headlight, this goes through the headlight. This also goes through the main stay bracket. This piece kind of links everything together. It holds everything together. So you can see the piece isn't perfect. This came off it was a Rec 2018, so it's not perfect, but I'm okay with that. I might be able to get that painted and touched up. Maybe you can see that beautiful blue as I roll the camera around. Personally, guys, I love the blue. I think it looks incredible, and I think once it gets outside, it's going to look even better. And I have this positioned where it's supposed to be, and it looks like our holes here for the dash cluster are going to line up as well. So I may just have to get a couple clips or whatever I need here. But it looks like the dash cluster is going to line up with the nose cowl. So pretty cool. I haven't really pieced this fully together yet, so I don't know how it quite goes together. But I do know the fairings come in and they wrap around and then they lock into this side of the headlight also. So between the side fairings and the nose cowl, it locks the headlight in place. It just kind of sandwiches it in there. But I don't know if I could put this on just yet. I think I probably have to do the side pieces first, just because there's a point here that's broken, but there's a peg or a plastic clip that goes in through here normally, and on the other side it is not broken. It's actually intact. So the fairing, hopefully we could see that right there. The fairing meets up with this hole, and again the fairing locks the headlight in place. And then there's all these little grommets on the side, Velcro. So the fairings play a huge part in locking this headlight in place, because without it, it just kind of sags and it just kind of droops. So, okay, let me go get some fairings. Next little piece I'm going to change out is our rear tail cowling. I mean, we're going all blue, no point having the red one on. I have the blue piece from the 2018 parts bike, so this should be a quick and easy change. There's 2 screws down in here inside. Yeah, I've said this before, and it turned out to be like a big to-do to change something simple. So there's 2 screws, one on each side, down inside the rear tail. And then there's 3 screws on the top here. Things seem to be coming out pretty easy, but that's not always an indicator. I did loosen them up a little bit before I started. Okay, so I'm hoping this just slides out. Let me see here. I'm looking on the inside. It may not just slide out as easy as I thought. I hope so. If I have to undo the rear tail, I mean, that's another issue, but I may have to take the side pieces off here on the rear tail, actually. I'm not 100% sure. I thought I could just undo this and slide it out. It doesn't appear that I can do that. Okay, I think I'm going to take these rear tail pieces off as well. So just as I figured, guys, it wasn't just a simple matter of just sliding that little plastic piece out. I've actually had to remove the two side trim pieces on each side, and they're all clipped into with a series of clips. Like, here's an example of a little clip here. It goes into a grommet into the frame here. You know, all this stuff clips together, so you got to just be patient, take your time, take it apart. But now that it's apart, I'm gonna clean this area up a little bit back here, because to be honest, I haven't got in here. This is all just dirt from sitting around the auction yard. All right, let me clean that up. I'll be right back. I kind of went in here, I cleaned up the area, and I've kind of clipped my new blue tail section back in place. I mean, I love the red too, don't get me wrong, but this blue is just, it's a different level, man. So, okay, so I've got that piece in. I'm going to go clean up the little side trim pieces now and try to get those back in, and I'm going to bolt it all back together. This piece just kind of clipped into the bottom trim, but you can see it's going to clip into the top trim as well. But I can bolt probably these two bolts in if I needed to. Right, so I got it off, I got it back in place. There's not really a good way to give you an instruction on how to do this, guys, but I will tell you that there's a screw right here that holds the blue tail piece in, and there's a screw right here that holds your side piece in. So you have two of those, one on each side, and then here you have clips that go in and downward, and you have a grommet here that goes into a frame, and then back here you have clips that go from the blue piece upward and then slide this way. So I don't know if there's a real proper instruction on how to put these things on or off or not. You're just going to have to jiggle it, wiggle it until it all goes into place and then bolt it back down. But anyways, I have it in, I have it bolted back down, everything's in place. I just got to pop these two bolts back in here. This one here feels like it's missing the riv nut on the back of the frame. This one I can feel it under my finger, there's a riv nut there. This one doesn't seem to have anything, so I'll probably just have to get a nut and throw onto that bolt. But yeah, so we're starting to get a little bit of blue, guys. So there's the nose. This is the little tank half cover. I've just got this loosely placed on the bike. And now we have the rear tail section. Okay, that's going to be it for this video. I'm going to do an oil change on the bike probably in the next couple days before I get the fairings on. And that's mainly because the oil filter is down here, right between the headers of this inline 4 Suzuki. So once I get the fairings on, it's going to be pretty hard to change the oil. Alright, thanks for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And stay tuned for the next video. Probably be the oil change and probably getting the rest of the fairings on, I would suspect. And then we're off to the races. Alright, if you're out there riding, boys and girls, ride safe. We're getting close to summer season here in Canada.